So today I am going to be completing, no, what am I talking about? Words. Today I'm building my wife a new computer, which sounds crazy because it was just a few months ago where I completely gutted her current system, took out all of the custom water cooling hardware because it was all corroded and nasty. You can watch that video, it's gross. But I swapped it all out for just more standardized components. I upgraded the GPU to an RTX 2060 Super Founders Edition, and it's been working fine ever since. It's got a Core i7 6700K quad-core 8-thread processor on a Z170 motherboard. It's mini ITX system in the lovely NZXT Manta, and we're replacing it entirely today. Why are we doing that? Recently, Wifeysauce created her own YouTube channel, and she's been posting to it fairly regularly. She's actually been editing all of her own videos, which means that content creation is now suddenly a part of her daily lifestyle. And while the 6700K has been perfectly adequate for her needs up until this point, there's certainly better options on the market now for an editing system than an Intel 6th Gen quad-core processor. It also goes without saying that if we want to drop in a higher core count CPU, we're gonna have to swap out her platform as well, since 4 cores and 8 threads is pretty much the max that you're gonna get on Z170. And while we're at it, I'm gonna swap out her GPU again, because believe it or not, Wifeysauce and I have actually been gaming a lot more lately, more than we have in the last 2 years combined, I think. I think the quarantine might have something to do with it, but the RTX 2060 Super, perfectly fine, perfectly adequate, but I also want to upgrade her monitor. It's a very nice Asus 4K 60Hz workstation display, but this is not a gaming display. 60 Hz, no variable refresh rate, so once I upgrade her panel, we're gonna have the opportunity to hit some higher refresh rates. We're gonna want a GPU in her system that can actually accommodate that and achieve some higher frame rates as well. Not sure exactly what monitor I'm gonna go with yet. It's probably gonna be a 4K gaming display. That way she doesn't lose any real estate when she's editing, but still has all the nice features that come with a gaming monitor. So that's what we're doing today. We're building Wifeysauce, a new computer for editing first and foremost, but it's also gonna be able to tackle pretty much any game you throw at it. So it should be pretty cool. If you like spoilers, I'll put links to all the products in the description below, but let's get started.
In these trying times, the team at Fractal Design thought you deserved a moment to take your mind off things. So here's a 30-second cat montage. This perfect moment of pause has been brought to you by Fractal Design. That's it. That's the ad. You can help by joining the battle against COVID-19 and many other terrible diseases. Join PCMR's Folding at Home team and use your PC's processing power for the greater good. Link in the description below.
We're gonna start this build off with the case for a change. This is the Fractal Design Define R6. It is not the 7, it's not the latest one. I would have loved to use that case, but I just don't have one on hand. This one was in the garage just collecting dust, so I thought, what the heck? This is still an awesome premium mid-tower chassis. It supports up to eATX motherboards, and it's got all the bells and whistles you could want in a modern desktop case. As you can see, this is the tempered glass edition, so we've got a nice full window. We can see all of our components inside, and in true Fractal fashion, we have some white accents with the fan blades and expansion slots, which we're going to be swapping out actually, because here's the thing. I'm gonna black this out. This whole system is gonna be pretty much blacked out. A, because I think blacked out systems are awesome, and B, Wifeysauce is not a fan of RGB. She's actually kind of an RGB hater, further confirming that I married the right woman. And even though some of the components we're putting in here today will have RGB, we'll be fully disabling all of them so the system can look super stealthy. Let's get cracking on this guy. Dumb screws. Are these captive? No, they're not. Oh yeah. I've always had strong wrists, the left one in particular. Oh, crap, that was the power supply bright. Dang it! Okay, there we go. Okay, here it is. Whew. This girl got a thick glass. So like I said, we're gonna swap out some of these rear end elements, starting with the fan. I'm gonna actually replace it with another Fractal fan. This is their Venturi HF14 140mm unit. This is also a 140, so we're not losing any airflow there. Very nice fan, super quiet. We're gonna be using a couple more of these Venturis in the build later on, as you'll see. We're also gonna replace these expansion slots with some black ones that I pulled from another case. It's not a Fractal case, so the design isn't exactly the same, but it's a minor thing that shouldn't be a big deal. Geronimo! Sorry about that, guys. I'm still getting used to screwing with just this limb. Screw it faster! Oh yeah, that's a party fan. That's a party fan. All right, let's take care of these guys. Now for the brains of the operation, I've employed the AMD Ryzen 9 3900X, the 12-core, 24-thread CPU. I figured this would be a huge leap from the 6700K that she's using currently. I mean, for one, we're really amping up the manufacturing process here on a 7nm architecture, and we're tripling the number of cores and threads, which is really gonna cut down on our render times. Ooh, baby. All right, maybe I'm just gonna keep this right here for now. Sit tight, little guy. Our motherboard is the MSI MPG X570 Gaming Pro Carbon Wi-Fi. Beautiful ATX motherboard that's more or less black from top to bottom. It does have some nice carbon fiber accents that I'm sure Wifeysauce will not notice, let alone appreciate. That's okay though. She'll find plenty of value elsewhere. Dual M.2 slots, solid VRM, plenty of I/O, tons of connectivity. We got Wi-Fi on the back even though we won't be using it. USB 3.1 Gen 2. Very, very nice stuff. Okay, let's go ahead and get this sucker in. We're gonna lift this on. It's always kind of tricky putting a system together when I'm actually looking at the LCD on the camera rather than the parts themselves. But there you go, I'm a beast. Now when it's under load for long periods of time, the 3900X can get a little toasty. It does have 24 threads after all. So to tame this little guy, we've got the Fractal Design Celsius Plus. This is a 280mm liquid AIO, and building upon the previous generation of Celsius coolers, Fractal has kept the PWM fan module that's already pre-wired and attached to the radiator. Such a great design, really cleans up the cable clutter, and we will be forgoing the use of the Prisma fans that come included with it because they're RGB and stuff. We don't want that. We'll be replacing those with Fractal Venturi HP14s instead. These are the high static pressure models that do such a good job at moving air through those finny fins. All right, let's make the water block and CPU bump uglies. The ladies say I have lots of endurance. Oh! Cooler. Can I just quickly point out that we're using AMD's stock mounting brackets here? Right out of the gate, didn't have to change a thing, and we only have one screw to screw down for this entire cooler. Wifeysauce, take notes. Low maintenance. I will regret saying that later. When mounting fans to the radiator, always remember to screw with confidence. We're gonna be effectively doubling Wifeysauce's memory capacity with this kit of G.Skill FlareX DDR4 3200 speed. Yes, there are faster RAM kits available for DDR4, but 3200 ain't bad, especially when you consider that the cast latency is 14. Pretty snappy timings there. So we've got 4 8GB sticks here, giving us a total of 32 gigabytes. Let's get her done. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. Run as you are, as you were, at a high frequency, highly bend, it's so dim, volatile memory, yeah. Now for storage, I'm actually gonna put 3 drives into this system, but for now we're gonna start with this one. This is the MP600 from Corsair. It's a 1TB NVMe SSD, M.2 form factor, and it is PCIe Gen 4, which is fully supported by X570. This is more or less gonna be her working drive. So if she's working on a project in Adobe Premiere Pro, this is gonna be the drive that she dumps all of her raw footage onto when she's editing because of its super fast read and write speeds, particularly the write speeds when you're talking about video editing. But look at these speeds. 4,950 megabytes per second sequential reads, 4,250 megabytes per second sequential writes. It's an absolute animal. And again, this is separate from her C drive and the third drive we'll be putting in here. It's the only M.2 SSD though, which is why we're talking about it now, because it needs to mount to one of the M.2 slots on our motherboard. I do like the stock heatsink on this drive. It looks nice, it performs pretty well, but we already have existing M.2 heatsinks on the board, so we're gonna use those. Girl, you so hot, you ship with a heatsink. You should try that pickup line sometime if you don't want results. Like all the other first PCIe Gen 4 SSDs to hit the market, this one too features a Phison controller. Sufficing to say, it's pretty good. Okay, easy does it now. You wanna be gentle with her. There it is. Oh yeah. Gotta love that raised center post. That's oh so helpful. Pre-installed standoffs, pre-installed IO shield. I mean, the manufacturers are kind of taking the fun out of it, really. They're building the system for you. Before you know it, they're just gonna come pre-assembled. They'll call them something stupid like pre-builts. I was having a really hard time installing a motherboard the other day. I'm not sure why, it was just being really standoffish. One of the scariest things about PC building is stripping the motherboard standoffs. There is nothing quite as dreadful. It is pretty bad. I've done it a couple times, and it's no fun. In fact, it actually reminds me also, if you guys haven't seen my top 5 scariest moments when building a PC video, check it out. It's actually a slightly older video. I posted it for last year's Halloween, but it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. It didn't get the view count that I wanted. I think it's because it's a short video, much shorter than my usual stuff, so the algorithm was like, F you. Just kidding, algorithm. If you're watching this, I love you. Oh, the joys of one-handed PC building. Just the tip. There we go. I like it when you screw me tight. Now mounting our radiator to the case can go a couple different ways here. We can mount it to the front, or the top? I'd prefer the top just because we already have two pre-installed fans at the front. They have white blades, and if we had to mount the radiator to the front of the case, then those two fans would have to go up here, and that would throw off the whole feng shui of the build, which means I would have to swap those fans out. It's a whole other thing. So hopefully we can mount it to the top of the case, but there's some issues here. For starters, this guy's in the way. We have to remove this panel. This is sort of the drive panel where all of the 3.5-inch and 2.5-inch drive trays go. There's like 18 of them or something like that. I've already removed them because they were in the way. We got to get rid of them anyway. The other issue that mounting the radiator to the top of the case could pose is that RAM clearance could be a concern, because these aren't the tallest heat spreaders in the world, but they're not the shortest either. So the fact that we're dealing with a wider 280mm radiator could pose some clearance issues. We'll just have to wait and see. First things first though, let's get this removed. Get those front screws and those bottom screws. I've been working on the PC all a live long day. It's a blackout build, yeah, cause RGB is lame. All right, you are out of here. And now for the moment of truth. Will the radiator fit at the top of the case? It will! Hey, bravo, bravo. GG, everyone. But you know what? I'm still gonna mount it to the front. Because if I mount it to the top, it does fit, but it's very tight. It's pressing right up against that DRAM. And if I ever need to swap out the DRAM for whatever reason, I gotta uninstall the AIO, which is a huge pain in the so I'm mounted to the front. A fan gets off a bus, lost and disoriented. Another fan sees him with a worried look on his face and says, "Can I help you, sir?" The fan says, "Why, yes. I was hoping you could help me find my bearings." That is looking beautiful so far. You gotta love how flexible this case is. Woohoo! You know, instead of replacing both 140mm fans, I think I'm just gonna stick a single 120 at the top, because we already got a 140 here, so we'll have a 140 and a 120 versus two 140s, giving us positive air pressure overall in the chassis, which of course is gonna slow down the accumulation of dust over time. So that's what I'm gonna do, and I have the perfect fan for the job. Even though it's not matching our Fractal Venturi, I would have loved to have matching fans, as I always do. This is still a killer fan. It's the Noctua NF-F12, 2000 RPM, and it's all black. Actually, this is the fan that was supposed to go into the HTPC, the new updated HTPC. Check that video out if you haven't yet. But I was unable to get both fans in there, just wasn't enough room. So now I get to use it in this build. Silver lights, it all works out. What's your favorite position, sweet cheeks? I like it right above my voltage regulation module. Oh, you naughty girl. Here are the other two drives I was talking about. We've got an ADATA SX900, 512GB SATA Rev 3 SSD, just a simple 2.5-inch drive. This is gonna be our C drive with, you know, operating system Windows 10, frequently used applications, Adobe Premiere, whatever else Wifeysauce wants to install on her system. And this is gonna be our backup drive for video games, and also backed up files for her YouTube channel. So we're gonna mount this guy. I think right here is good. Doesn't really matter. This is a little trickier because we've now removed our drive cage area to make way for this radiator, which means we really don't have a place for this 3.5-inch drive. But I have an idea. See these holes? Will they line up? Please line up. Oh, this could work, maybe. Hold on, everybody. Hold on to your butts. All right, there's one. Oh, it might work, bruh. It might work, my tasty bros. Woo! Look at that. I might even be able to get a third one in there. Hey, 3 out of 4 ain't bad. I'll take it. Beautiful. Thank you, ventilation holes. And look at that. Ain't that nifty? Man, we are crushing it. SSD time. So this is actually my old drive that I used to use for my Ryzen test bed. So it did get quite a bit of use, but it still has a long lifespan ahead of it. It's not like I used it daily or anything. So it should be plenty fine for Wifeysauce for now. We're gonna go ahead and mount it like so. Oh yeah, do the twist. Little fun fact, I usually only ever use 2 screws when I'm mounting 2.5-inch SSDs because there's no moving parts. So this is perfectly fine. It's totally solid. It's not gonna go anywhere. And life's too short. Life's too short to use more screws than you need. Totally not intentional, but we have another Fractal design product. It just happens to be that we've got a lot of these parts lying around from good old Fractal. But this is a very nice unit, actually. It's the Ion Plus 760p. So it's got 760 watts, which is an interesting number. It's not 80 plus bronze, not gold, but platinum. Fully modular design, 0 RPM switch, and it's got a very quiet fan in-house from Fractal. Very nice unit. I love the size. I'm gonna go ahead and plug in all the cables that we need here, including our 2 CPU cables. So we actually have an 8-pin and a 4-pin power connector on the motherboard for our CPU, so we get additional power for those 12 cores, which is really nice. And I've already gone and pre-wired these cables. I actually wired them up off camera when I thought that the radiator could potentially be going to the top of the case, because I didn't want to have to fiddle around and have a hard time reaching these ports on the motherboard with a big fat radiator and fans in the way. It's good practice if you are gonna mount an AIO or a radiator at the top of your case or anything bulky like that to go ahead and pre-wire your CPU cables and any other small cables like maybe fan connectors and stuff at the top of the motherboard. Oh, totally didn't realize that this is supposed to get mounted from the rear. Damn it! Let's get this PSU bracket on here. In you go, cables. And just slide her right in. Make sure she's okay with it first.
Great goings on. Yes, I love it.
All right, I've already fiddled around with some cable management on the back side of the motherboard tray. I've also plugged in our front panel connectors. I do have a couple more cables to go though, like these sleeved extensions that I threw in at the last minute because, you know, Wifeysauce likes things to look good. That's why she married me. Last things to plug in are PCI Express cables, which means we are ready for our last part of the day, which is our graphics card. This is the MSI RTX 2080 Super Gaming Trio. What a bad boy. This is a monster, y'all. Look at that, heatsink. Custom PCB, very nice, beautifully brushed aluminum backplate, triple fan design, extremely cool and quiet. I can see you all turning greener with envy by the second. Dun, 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 dun. And the build is complete. It looks really fresh, my dudes, really fresh. But there's one thing you may have noticed. It's not completely RGB-less, is it? No, it's not. Our water block LED is still going strong. Why is that, you might ask? I just learned that the LED is powered by the pump cable, which can't be unplugged. Otherwise, the pump won't work and the CPU will overheat. So we're stuck with it. So what? It doesn't matter. It still looks great. I'm sure she'll love it. Right? Are you ready? Come on, come here. Bring it in.
It's so big.
You say the same thing every time you say me. Come and see your new computer. Dun, 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 dun. Diddle-doo.
Wow, you went for an all black look.
I did.
All blacked out.
All blacked out, super stealthy.
Wow.
Do you notice a severe lack of anything?
RGB!
Yeah.
Woo! Yeah!
I know my wife.
You do know your wife. Honey, it looks so good. I love it, babe. There's a little bit of a GPU sag though.
Yeah, we can fix that. I'll get a bracket for it maybe. I couldn't disable the water block light, but it's just a little light, so it's not
I actually
huge.
like it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gives a little bit of personality. But
Thank you. I love it.
yeah, it's for your new YouTube channel, and so we can game together. And I love you.
I love you too. This is why I married you. You're so thoughtful.
I know. Does this mean you and I tonight, our bedroom? Okay. Tomorrow is a good suggestion. Well, if we learned anything today, it's that Wifeysauce is a very lucky lady, and I am not getting lucky tonight. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Toss a like before you go if you enjoyed it, and get subscribed for more tech content on the way. Also check out bitwit.tech, our merchandise store, shirts, hoodies, pint glasses, and more. Thank you guys so much for supporting us there. Thanks again for watching. Have a good one, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Pew!